Were you brought to Hawaii on the basis of a personal choice or as a result of your circumstances, your duties with the President at that time?
It was, I would like to say, it was in performance of an official duty. Coming to Hawaii was not a personal choice. As a matter of fact, up to the time we were on board the plane proceeding to Guam, our understanding was we were going to be flown out or flown to Ilocos Norte. As I have been briefed the night before by the base commander of the United States Air Force Base in Clark that we will be flown out early in the morning to Gabo Airport in Ilocos Norte.
Okay, so to your knowledge, President Marcos was brought to Hawaii according to his wishes or against it?
To the best of my knowledge, and fortunately this was confirmed by many people, the General Escort who was assigned to the Joint United States Military Advisory Group, or the JUSMAG, is Ted Allen, or General Ted Allen, and also confirmed last year, this is no longer a secret, as Mrs. Aquino has said during an interview of Magtanong sa Pangulo, and we have the tape here, the lawyers have the tape of that interview with Radio Veritas, February of 1988, where she said that she wanted Mr. Marcos out. If he was not dying, she wanted him to be out when she was called by then Ambassador Bosworth.
Okay, you have remained with President Marcos.
By the way, I'd like to say that in the early morning of February 25, when the news or when the responsible officers of Clark Air Force Base, General Allen and the base commander, Major General Gordon Williams, saw President Marcos in his officers' quarters where he was temporarily billeted and was told that he has to be flown out early that morning. He was surprised because the agreement or the arrangement was that in the morning we will be flown to Ilocos Norte. And first of all, we were told that we have to be removed from or evacuated from Clark Air Force Base because the place was surrounded by the New People's Army. And it was a very shallow lie. We said, you tell us the truth from one military man to another military man, and did you get an orders from up there, from your from the civilian authority to get us out of the airport early this morning? And finally, Major General Gordon Williams admitted that he had been given an order to fly us out of the country. And that was it. We were not going to let it just be an easy compliance of an order. We were going to fight it out. Remember, we still had our long arms. We had our short arms. And we could have created the scene in that circumstance. But President Marcos said, don't put up any fight.
Did they say, generals at Clark Field, as to who in the higher-up echelons gave the order to remove President Marcos and his entourage from Clark?
Well, our understanding then was that Major General Williams and British General Ted Allen were given instructions by Ambassador Bosworth, and Ambassador Bosworth was given instruction by his people in Washington, D.C., and little did we know, or we had no inkling that then Mrs. Aquino was in touch or was being called by for instruction by Mr. Bosworth until March or April of the same year, when here in Honolulu a writer, Sandra Burton, who has, by the way, written a book on the Philippines vis-a-vis the February turmoil, has said that when she met with us, she said that she learned as early as February that instructions were given to the base commander that we should be flown out of the country first hour in the morning, and that the order came from Mrs. Aquino, from according to her, from her source in the U.S. Embassy.
All right. Well, you have remained with President Marcos now for more than 3 years in Hawaii. How do you feel about being away from your own country for such a long time, and do you want to return?
I have always wanted to be able to go back, but here I feel that I'm still performing an official duty. I remember for a fact that in 1966, the President Marcos signed an executive order, I think it's numbered 41, and it is series of 1966, designating 2 military assistants and 6 enlisted men to be assigned to President Macapagal. As in the United States and in other civilized countries, former heads of states or monarchs or kings or emperors or presidents or prime ministers are allowed the services of military assistants. I am in a position where it's hard to, or one would be hard up in saying that I am on an official mission, except for the fact that I interpret this as a continuation of my assignment from 1975 to 1986 to the present. President Marcos has asked me to stay and head the staff of more than 40, exclusive of volunteers. Volunteers in the sense that they do camera work, security guards, driving, and so on and so forth. We still have a sizable staff to contend with. The federal government has to, of the United States, has to deal with somebody before going to, or before personally approaching President and Mrs. Marcos. So I am happy that my services are still needed here. I'm also happy to report to the Filipino people that in spite of the fact that President Marcos is very sick, and in spite of the fact that there are many threats on his life, even when we just arrived, he is still safe, and we are performing our job as security officers.